Good morning from sacred space at Titania's realm. Don't look at my nose, it's peeling, I know. Oh my goodness. Anyway, I got a bit of a sunburn on it the other day, and what can I say? Skin cancer! It's going to be horrific, people. It's unavoidable almost in this climate. My beautiful friend Lynn did buy me a straw sun hat because she's very psychic, and she always knows just the right thing to gift me with at any point in time, things I actually desperately need but am in denial about. But because I don't make a habit of wearing hats out in the sun, I keep forgetting to wear it. So must remember next time, put on my sun hat. But I know when this happened, it happened when I was at Victoria Point with my friend Jared. So it wasn't too bad, but it's decided to burn and peel almost a week later. So sometimes I get this too from overloading my liver. I break out in pimples. So not nice, not elegant, not beautiful. Meh. I'm alive, ain't I? Sort of, kind of. So I wanted to make this video. It's by the way, it's now 10:53 a.m. on the 18th of February 2024. I didn't have too bad a night last night. I mean, I peed about 4 times during the night, but each time was spaced. I didn't actually record the times like I've been doing when it's been very bad. I'm just, blah. But it was about spaced out every 2 hours and peeing large volumes, so it was better than getting up every 15 minutes and just faffing about, right? So, yeah, and look, I knew that I would need to pee a fair bit because I drank on Friday night. I had 4 Jack Daniels and cups of tea, and I had a cup of tea late last night too because I was actually thirsty, and tea's a fucking diuretic, so it's the worst possible thing I could be having late at night. So you know what? I'm my own worst fucking enemy, and I kind of deserve it. But having said that, I slept quite deeply because I'm exhausted from the wild shamanic dance on Friday. So that the blocks of sleep were refreshing deep sleep, or I think they were, because I feel quite clear-headed this morning. I woke up at 9:36 a.m. and the last time I got up to pee was just after 5:01 or some random number like that, and I looked up and I saw the dawn, and I thought, oh, okay, that's nice. It's about the only time I see dawn time because I'm a fruit bat. I love the nightlife, and I'm not one to get up at 5 in the morning and do the eye gazing. I have done it. Actually, it was quite beneficial. I did it at the time when I had very bad lungs and wasn't sleeping anyway in June 2022 and thought I was going to die. So I was up at dawn every morning going with the angels and eye gazing into the light, and maybe that helped too. Who knows? But that's not my usual pattern, people. I like to sleep in the mornings because my brain's more productive and active from midday till 11 or 2 o'clock and midnight to 2 a.m. It's just the way I am. I can't do anything about that. I mean, I could train myself to get up early and go to bed early, but why? There's no benefit to it, and I enjoy my life as it is because I'm stubborn and recalcitrant. But anyway, I wanted to make this video. It's not a very particularly interesting one. It's a bit depressing. It talks about my health issues, which are just boring and depressing. But before I read those, blahness, I had a very intricate, intense, psychedelic dream this morning. And I'm trying to remember it all because it was one of those dreams where you like watching a TV show starring yourself, and it's all unfolding, and it feels like some of it might even come true. It felt precognitive, but I'm sure it's not, because it was also nonsensical, but there were aspects of the dream that felt precognitive, so it was a bit strange. But anyway, now let me describe it. So in the dream, I've packed up a tiny little thing, probably a piece of jewelry. It didn't actually show me what the thing I had wrapped up was, but I've wrapped it up in like what looked like a lipstick tube, like white plastic, lipsticky, tubey looking thing. Made particular point of showing me the size and shape of it. It was kind of bullet shaped. And in the dream, I hadn't thought anything about how it kind of looks, right? So I've wrapped it up, and I take this little parcel, which again, as I said, I don't know what it was actually enclosed, but I was wanting to post it to a friend in New Zealand for their birthday, I presume, or some kind of gift. So I go to the post office, and there's a younger man, probably in his late 30s, early 40s, and he's Asian looking, he's got big moon face like me, but he's Asian with darkish hair, and something about his face, the shape of him, because I tend to pick fairly accurately where people come from. I know it sounds racist, but I just sometimes, look at their face and the way they express themselves, and I get these intuitions. So in the dream, I look at this young man and I decide that he's a Filipino. Well, he's from the Philippines. That's kind of the dream said. Oh, look, he's from the Philippines. And I nodded. And he was a very nice young man in charge of this post office. And I said to him, look, I've wrapped up this little parcel, and I want to send it to New Zealand. And he looks at me and he said, oh, well, if you just send it on its own, it's going to cost about, $15, $20. He said, but here's the weird thing. If you add like little photos or things and put it in a letter, send it as a letter, you could probably get away with sending it cheaper. Now, this is not logical, right? Post offices rarely tell you cheaper options now, because they're like financial rapists and try to scam you at every opportunity. So I'm looking at this man, both astonished that he's offering me cheaper options, and trying to work out, because I knew even in the dream that it's nonsensical, because adding a letter or photographs to it would make the parcel even heavier, and there's no way it would be even cheaper. So I literally turn my head in the dream and look at him like this, like, what? He says, go away and come back with a letter attached to it, or a note, and some photos or whatever you've got to stuff in it with the parcel, and just slip it in, and it'll be probably a matter of a couple of dollars as opposed to $15, $20. So me in my destitution thought, oh yeah, that kind of makes sense. So I said, I was hoping to post it off today, but I said, all right, I'll take your advice. So I go away, I go back to this, it wasn't my home here, it was some apartment somewhere, I don't know where, and I'm starting to dream of living in an apartment, which makes me feel uncomfortable. I hope I'm not getting shoveled out of my home. That's a trigger. But anyway, I'm sure it's just nonsensical dreams, right? Anyway, so I go back to this apartment and I find some photos to throw in with the parcel, and I wrote a little note to my friend, and thinking this is all just fucking excess and annoyance. I could have just flicked it off, but to save money, I thought, oh well, it's worth it. So I walk back down. The dream shows me physically walking with this now package with photos and things in it, as well as the little tubey thing. Oh no, that can't be right. I can't have put it into a package yet. I must have just gathered up the letter and the photos. Right, stick to the dream now, Tanya. Because I go back to the postman, and the same young Filipino postman serving, and he smiles at me. And I throw this tubey lipstick thingy looking object that I've wrapped up on the counter, And he just kind of looks at me and starts laughing. I said, so I look and I went, what is he laughing at? And I look down and the little parcel white package like a lipstick looks like a fucking tampon. So I sort of get really embarrassed. Bear in mind, I haven't menstruated in many years because I had, major fucking surgery in 2007. By this late stage of my life, if I had been still menstruating, I would have, gone through menopause. So, but the shame and the embarrassment still to this day about having something that looks like a tampon in front of me still kind of upset me. So I'm looking down thinking, why am I embarrassed and ashamed about something that looks like a tampon since I don't bleed anymore? And anyway, why should a woman be made to feel embarrassed and ashamed about something she has no control over and that happens every month? But, every woman in this watching my video will identify with kind of how I felt, So I'm looking at this, I'm looking at the postman, I'm thinking, you bastard, like he could have had a bit of couth and not made fun of it. And I went, oh yeah, I see what you're thinking. I said, well, it's not, is it? I said, that's just, the tube that I've packaged it in. And he nodded. And then randomly, he puts it through and we put it in the little parcel thing, address it and flick it off to New Zealand. Didn't actually say exactly which friend in New Zealand I was posting it to. But anyway, that detail doesn't matter. So, or maybe it does, because it's kind of odd that it didn't show the name and the address of the person I was wanting to send it to. Anyway. So I'm still faffing about doing all this, writing the name and getting, because you've got to do your customs declarations. I'm faffing about with all that. Not that it showed me the customs declaration, but that would have been what the delay was, And I'm ever so slightly annoyed because I've had the delay of having to go back home and add things to the parcel, and this young man sort of smiling at me indulgently. And next thing, he looks at me and he hands me a card of some random man with his phone number on it, and he says, so I get the impression I was living in an apartment in the city, because it was all like, business offices around and apartments. Looked actually a bit like Margaret Street or Elizabeth Street, where when I park in Uptown, I have to walk down to the Brooklyn Standard. But I could be wrong, but it felt like I was in an inner city living environment. So the young postman says, you live locally, and I have a wonderful friend, and he said he's Filipino like me, and he said he's very lonely, and you look like you might be a bit lonely too. And I'm just staring at him thinking, what the fuck? Because bear in mind, in real life, I fucking hate being set up, manipulated, or match-made into relationships with people, including friendships. If you want to get to know me, come up and say hello yourself and be a grown-up. Don't send other people, my friend likes you. Used to happen at the casino, used to act like 12-year-old boys. I'd go, oh, your friend likes me, does he? Well, your friend can fuck off. I said, why are you his mouthpiece? If your friend likes me, tell him to man up and approach me on his own terms. I can't stand idiots manipulating, playing quite often cruel and sadistic games, by the way. Or worse, matchmaking you into some lurid, sordid fucking thing that turns toxic in a matter of hours or weeks and months, sometimes years, like my shitty, fucked up marriage, and can be life-threatening. So no, we won't be going there. Mama T has spoken. Also, I want a man who loves me to choose me of his own volition, because it was actually, his idea, because he genuinely loves me and respects me and honours me and cares for me and wants more than just a quick fuck and a frottering and wants to build a life with me and be happy and supportive, and we live together in harmonious equilibrium. Oh, look, I am the psychedelic dreamer. Been dreaming for that a long time, decades. So anyway, so this young man handing me this card, which was kind of a boundary violation, because he's in his capacity as working in the post office in his professional capacity, and I'm the customer trying to send off a parcel. So he hands me this card. My friend is quite lonely. He said he's a wonderful man. I love him dearly. Well, men always say that about their friends. It's a bit different, the love you have for your male friends, as opposed to foisting them off on some woman, especially a woman you don't know, right? Very dangerous, stupid thing to do, because, you know, bromances and male fidelity friendships are not on the same par as sexual romantic liaisons or relationships between a man and a woman. Some men still have not worked that out. So you're getting an education from me watching my videos on how things need to be conducted and how they work, you know? Or you need to actually know both people very, very well before you can matchmake them or even think about that. And you need to ask them, are you interested in, I have someone I like, are you interested? Yes. Would you be willing to meet? You know, that there's a way of doing things that are not invasive and fucking creepy and weird, by the way. But as I say, I reject all matchmaking out of hand, because I've been burnt too many times. So, well, anyway, so in the dream, he hands me this card with this man's name and phone number and, you know, I can't remember what job description, but it was quite impressive. I was like, I don't identify people by the job they do either. You know, you could be God and come down and say, hey, Tanya, I'm God. This is my job description. Aren't I wonderful? Aren't you going to fucking worship me? And I'll be like, what do you like when I get you home? Will you treat me nicely? Will you be kind to my animals? You know, will you respect my space? Are you a decent man? You know, the gods have been known to rape people and produce spawn through their thigh. Think Zeus in Greek mythology. I'm not impressed by a god either. Just saying. 2,000 years of Christianity. Just saying. That don't impress me much. Yeah, because of the errant pedophilia during my childhood. Anyway, mind you, let's be fair, that goes on in all religions, including Judaism, and in the secular world. We can't blame the Christians for everything. But that rape culture that was allowed to foment unchecked by the Vatican, by the way, is an evil and a perversion and a sickness that has led to the breakdown of Western civilization. It only took about 1,000 years for it to happen, but it was doomed to happen, people. If you don't respect children and animals and women, you're doomed from beginning to end. Just ask the goddess, who right now is probably sitting back laughing at us poor fuckers right now, going, I tried to tell you what would happen when you dishonour the feminine principle. At least the Catholics got that little bit right by worshipping Mary. But anyway, not my religion, and I've segued out of here, but let's rewind back to where I was. So, old mate in the dream hands me this card of this supposedly, allegedly lovely man that he thinks the world of, and says to me, give him a call. He works, you know, in the vicinity, and you might want to meet up with him and have a coffee and meet him. He said, I think you'll like each other. Well, I had in the dream even, I had no intention of doing such a thing. And I wouldn't in real life either. I would have just politely taken the card and said, oh, that's nice. you know. But anyway, just for the sake of heaven, for the sake of peace, when internally I'm screaming like, what do you think I am, some piece of leftover dirty rag trying to shove me onto some fucking man and some complete stranger, and, you know, what are you running, a fucking brothel or a rape den? Like, I would have probably, on a bad day, I probably would have launched into a tirade and told him to fuck off, right? But in the dream, he seemed quite a sweet person and genuinely and heartfelt, and I thought, oh, well, he wants his friend to have a woman, and, you know, his friend's obviously incapable of pulling it together on his own terms, but too busy probably pulling himself off over porn like dear old Dave used to do. That they're inadequate in their net when it comes to real women. Stand there, shivering in front of me. All they copic and inadequate. Well, sorry, if you want pussy, if you want regular sex with a wonderful woman who's got a lot to offer, by the way, even though I'm impoverished and live in housing commission and I'm a bit fucking broken, but I have a lot to offer on many other aspects. Then you need to learn to be a man and say, come on, Tanya, I really like you. I think you're awesome. Let's go, let's have a chat somewhere, let's have dinner, let's, you know. One nice man at the club that I think has a little bit of a crush on me because he's flirted with me before, which was kind of hilarious. You know, I was so excited when I was there on Friday. He was like, try not to look at me, and then flirting with all these other women, which men do, thinking that will somehow stimulate into thinking, oh, competition, I must compete. I compete with no woman. I've had too many dead shits shove the most filthy, stinking, ignoble sluts in my face. I don't need to compete. If you love me, you love me because of my unusual quirky personality or my big fat boobies, or I don't know what the fuck stimulates some men, but if you love me for me, not shoving other things, creatures in my face. So I'm watching all this going on, and he even looked at me and he could see my expression was like this, because all I could think of was, you just have fun, love. Life is short. Party on. We're here to dance and be wild. You hook up with as many women as you like, because I'm not in love with you. I couldn't give a flying fuck. And actually, I want the people around me to find their love partners and ignite their passion and be excited about. I want men and women. I had a couple of lesbian women, beautiful young lesbian women, dancing in front of me on Friday night as well, pashing each other off. I thought, oh God, that's a little bit too much information. But I want people to be in love and happy, and so I just stood there and just ignored it, because they were kind of doing it to get attention too, which I find crass. So I just ignored it, but I thought, oh well, if they're in love, love is love, you know. I don't judge, I don't care. Do whatever you want, just don't fuck in front of me. I find that abhorrent, you know. If it gets to that level, go find a fucking dark alley somewhere or get a room. I don't care what you do with your genitals, is what I'm saying. Just don't try and do it to me without my consent or express permission, because that really grinds my gears. So anyway, my I can't say we're friends, but my acquaintance looking at me for my approval, woman. And then he almost did this little shake like he knew it would piss me off. So it makes me wonder if he's watching my videos. It's kind of strange that he could see that I was like, just passively like, kept dancing. Anyway, so a bit later, look, he is sweet in a way. I think he is trying to befriend me on some level. You know, I'll give him credit. He is kind of trying. But I'm not interested in him romantically. He still hasn't got it. Oh, dear goddess. At one point, he had women swarming all around him, so he probably thinks, well, I'm attractive and women swarm around me, so why is Tanya, like, not interested? Well, it's not that he's unattractive, you know, it's that I've been burnt so much in that scene over the years by the worst fucking psychopaths that I'm very, very careful about not letting on if I'm interested too much in someone. Because I've had women saboteurs as much as male saboteurs. And, you know, I've chosen the person that I think is worth pursuing something with, but I can't because they're married. So there is that. And look, at the moment, I'm just sitting quietly because it will go nowhere. And if it's just a crush, mind you, we've had this crush on each other for a few years now. But if it's just a crush, it will burn itself out as things do in time. And then the right man will move in and say, I'm the right man and I'm genuine and I want to build a life with you, Tanya. Right? That's how it's going to work, babies. And look, you know, the irony is this guy might actually be the one, and I'm kind of putting walls up because it's the club scene and alcohol's always running free. We're all under in an altered state. We're all various states of drunkenness, although I don't allow myself to get drunk. But, you know, it's like none of it's real. It's superficial. It's people are in altered states under the effects of alcohol. Some people there are on drugs as well as the alcohol. You can't build a relationship on people who are macked out of their fucking skull, people. That's another thing, you know. So, anyway, so this gentleman walked right up to me, which he finally got with the program, that this is how you behave around the Tanya. He finally, after I'd been there about an hour actually, and I'd watched all these little shenanigans going, him looking for my approval all the time. So he really does kind of like me. You know, it's sweet. It is sweet. So I'm trying to be gentle with him, because you can have a crush on someone and you know it's not going to go anywhere, because that's happened to me too. By the way, he watched me give my friend a little on the lips about a month ago, and this guy just freaked the fuck out with envy. I thought, this is not going to go good, is it? It's not going to go good. People were actually so envious of even the thought of me having a true love partner that they viciously sabotage it. Because that's what happened with Dave at Irish Murphy's. Although Dave decided to behave like a fucking asshole too. But initially, there was a sweetness between us, and it was sabotaged by vicious women who were spiteful and envious. So I'm very conscious of that. Anyway, this fellow approaches me, stands right in front of me and goes, "Hey, babe." I literally had that expression on my face because, number one, it was nice that he was coming up to say hello, but I'm not his babe. I'm not anyone's babe. The only one that I let talk to me like that is my friend Scott, because, as I said, I've been dancing for his band for 13 years, and the love between us is real. It's agape friendship love. It hasn't gone into anything sordid, and I won't allow that. And he's not interested in that anyway. He just loves me because I support his band. And, you know, the romantic overtures are just delightful, and maybe I'm in denial. Let's face it. But he is a decent man, and he reminds me constantly that he's married, and I constantly remind him nothing will come between you and your beautiful life and your beautiful wife. You know, he's worked so hard with his band and with his 27-year marriage, and we do adore each other and we respect each other. There will be nothing breaking up that perfect container. So I think this little fellow, this other fellow's decided to move in for the kill, because he's seen that it's a hopeless situation, that I have a love and affection for Scott, but also that I can't go anywhere with it, and I won't go anywhere with it, because I will not destroy another person's life. Over what? Over some fantasy? No, that would be evil and cruel and sadistic and awful. So this fellow comes up, "Hey babe, and it's kind of interesting. As a woman, I have taken note that he frotters and flirts with me on the weeks that alter egos are not playing, because he knows that my friend Scott, who's very protective of me, by the way, and has been protective of me even when I danced at the casino at the Live Wire Bar for many years, which is why we love each other, because we know we have each other's backs and we're protective of each other, which is what true friends do. True friends who truly love each other protect their reputations and their space. And so this fellow moving in, "Hey babe," on the night that Ramjet were playing, knowing that I have no one to watch out and go quietly, Anyway, I thought that was kind of mischievous, but also a bit interesting. I don't need, I don't need a man to control my sex life or my romantic life, by the way. The level of protection I have requested is because I had threats of being stabbed just before I left the casino for the last time. So I did ask for protection on that basis, but I don't need to be controlled or governed in how I conduct my romantic relationships. I'm not conducting any because I'm self-protective of this space and this space and this space, but I don't require to be controlled or manipulated romantically. But anyway, I think this fellow genuinely likes me and thought, here's my chance. Scott's not here and there's no one to kind of govern anything and keep an eye out over everything. So I'll just approach her and see how it goes. Well, "Hey babe," I just smiled. And then he didn't know what to say, so he ran off, poor little motherfucker. Oh, he might be my future husband, not that I want to get married again, but you know what I mean. He might be the one. He's so shy and frightened of my mana. Well, they all are, aren't they? My mana didn't come completely naturally. It was conferred by the gods, after decades of horror and trauma and violations and strangulations and rape threats and now stabbing threats and false lovers that were foul and evil and perverted and all their freaking concubines or fucking things. I've developed a mana that I am not going to ever cede, ever quit, ever yield now. I fought too hard to stay alive and become me. Of course it means a lifetime of loneliness and isolation and circumspection and little crushes on unavailable men, because that too keeps me safe, by the way. Like the deep love I had for Dave for many years, thank God that's over. Oh dear goddess, it was excruciating, especially with all the abuse he lashed out at me with all his consorts and cousins and friends at the casino, leering every weekend. Oh, it was vile. It was vile. But that deep love, I went to my psychiatrist some years ago. I said to him, "Doctor," I call him Brian. His name's Brian. But occasionally, I usually call him Doctor because I'm old-fashioned and it's a mark of respect. And I said, "Doctor, I said, Doctor, I've worked out why I'm still holding on to this love for that fucking dreadlock nitwit dead shit. He said, oh, why is that, Tanya? I said, it keeps me safe from other men. If I'm in love with someone and I'm all excited and ebullient and flowing with love inside, I'm not looking at any other men. And so the other dead shits that come along, they don't even blip on my radar. I keep looking only for Dave. I said, and when he comes, I can dine out on that for weeks. That's how I keep myself safe, people. It's almost beneath consciousness, but I'm aware of it now. I'm aware of it now. I'm aware that I'm in love with Scott now because, number one, he's been nothing but kind and respectful to me and protective of me. To you, my darling friend. And number two, he is sexy. Let's be real here, The other fans that come to all the clubs are just like slathering all over him, and then he will turn and look at me because he knows I'm his Clayton's wife in the club. I'm very protective, and I'll just nod because it's show business. I used to flirt with him outrageously at the Live Wiper because it's show business. And also we both know it wasn't going to go anywhere. We'd flirt, we'd dance. I'm dancing, he's playing. We'd have a wonderful evening, and then he goes home to his beautiful wife and his beautiful life, and I was going home to my beautiful cats and my beautiful dog and my beautiful bird, and feeling happy and excited by life and having healed some of my meridians that needed healing because they were shut down with all the horror with Dave, and not just Dave but other former lovers in that scene. And I'd go home safe and contented that I'd had my wild dance and go home to my safe haven, my sacred space. And that was a great gift that Scott gave to me, by the way, letting me feel like a vibrant, desirable, honourable, but still juicy, sexual woman that was worthy of deep affection and love. So it was so lovely on Friday night when Alex, with his girlfriend in tow, she's a lovely young woman. I said to him, we moshed together. I said, I've worked it out, I was thinking about you today. I said, we look like mother and son moshing side by side. Oh, really, Tanya? And then he made a point of standing behind me, putting his arms around my shoulders like this, holding me in quite a fierce bear hug, but from behind. And for a moment I freaked out because I'm not used to men grabbing me. I don't like being grabbed around the throat and the neck from behind. He's much taller, and he wouldn't know that. He wouldn't know that I've been strangled and that there's certain things will make me fucking freeze and then prepare to go into battle mode, which I was just on the brink of. But I looked down and I saw, the black sleeves. I knew he was wearing a black shirt, and I could feel his, presence behind me, and I knew it was someone tall because where his arms reached around me, that's Alex. So I responded by quite aggressively in a way, which was my little way, non-verbally, of saying, taking a risk, grabbing me from behind, Boychik, trigger me the wrong way and I will go into full battle mode to survive, right? That's why I do that. So, but he is a sweet young man. He does adore me. So when I realised it was him, but kind of a bit aggressively, I put my arms over his arms like that and kind of pulled him a bit tighter and gave him a little shake, and he got the message, let go, put his arms down, and I looked up at him and gave him a smile because he is a nice fellow. Him and his girlfriend are very sweet. I said to him, you can be my son. I never had a son and my daughter's fucking abandoned me. So I said, I'm happy if you want to be my son. And he kind of looked at me. He's got no intentions of being my son, darlings. We're just friends. Friends in the club. And that's perfectly okay too. Keep that in that safe container too. So, rewind to the dream. This Filipino person in the dream handing me this card from this man. Call my friend, he's lonely, he's looking for a woman, and you seem a bit lonely and you might be looking for someone too. Give him a ring, he's a very nice man. Go and have lunch with him or dinner and get to know him. And I'm just looking, seething quietly with rage, but I nod, and I take the card and I put it in my handbag without an argument, without saying, that's kind of sleazy and seedy what you're doing. Have you thought about, you don't know me from Adam? I could be a psycho. He could be a psycho. It could be a dangerous thing that you're doing, matchmaking complete strangers, which crossed my mind as I walked out of the post office. And then the dream ended, so I don't know if I followed through or rang the dude or not. But we all know what I've just explained to you in real life. Mama T won't be ringing anybody, darling. I won't be ringing any strangers. Just saying. It's bad enough the strangers I brought into my life years ago when I was a tiny bit more sexually active than I am now. And look at the fucking decades of horror I got from that. So, Cookie's got another grub from my grapes. Good work, Kookaburra. You get all those things off that grapevine because the bastard won't fruit, but those caterpillars eat all the leaves anyway. So here we are, 42 minutes in to explain all of that. So, I wonder if I should start another video. Anyway, thank you, Scott, for the agape love that you show to me, and Paulie and Luke, and Ramjet was so loving to me on Friday night as well. You're just such beautiful souls. I love your creativity. I love your music. I love you as individual people. I love Ness, how she was jokingly flirting with me when I put my foot up and she saw my nice sandals. And I love the joy and the magic we manifest together. I kind of love my little friend that thinks he likes me and comes up and goes, "Hey babe, I love you all." But I'm waiting for my man, the man that steps up and says, I want you in my life, and I want to build a life with you, Tanya. And that may never happen. I'm realistic. It may never happen. I've got too many fucking trauma issues, although I've gone through a lot of post-traumatic growth. And everyone else on planet Earth have got trauma issues, so they're kind of catching up to me now after the COVID epoch. We're all terrified of disease and death and other violations of our body autonomy and the breakdown of Western civilization, nuclear war and alleged climate change. And we're terrified of the world never being the same again, but we're still dancing and playing our music and speaking our stories and writing our stories. And some of you who've got loving partners and wives and husbands and girlfriends and boyfriends and lovers are busy making love and sitting in the sunshine around a swimming pool sipping wine, or in the beach in Byron Bay, where I should fucking be right now, with some gorgeous man who adores me and values and cherishes me. For me, that's a fantasy, has been for some time. And when I start seeing the romantic overtures and the genuine love and respect that people have for me, because I fought hard. I fought hard through this COVID epoch, wanting us all safe. I fought hard. And there's my neighbour down the road that I spoke to yesterday. She said, I will never be safe as long as I live. She's a survivor of domestic violence like me too. I said to her, no, darling, we will never be safe as long as we live, but we have to create our own level of safety that makes sense to us and gives us a sense of peace. I said, and the whole world is at that level now, where we have to create it, gifted sometimes by the gods, because humanity keeps fucking us over time and time again. But we're creating a better world, one day at a time, and I'm seeing it on my Friday nights out at the Brooklyn Standard. All of us fighting so hard to be joyous and live our best life and dance, and the musicians working hard at making music, and the bar staff and security staff and glassy staff working hard at keeping that club running in perfect order. Well, there was a bit of anarchy and chaos on Friday night. Things got a bit out of control, but that happens from time to time. You know, that's normal when there's a big crowd and a lot of drunk people. So anyway, so that was my dream, and this is my reality, holding on to the precious friendships I have, that I do nurture and I do guard zealously, and I do value. And, you know, it's funny, I've been on this high vibration love vibe since Friday, and I was like thinking a lot about Scott over the weekend, and I thought he's a truly good and decent man. And I have truly good and decent men in my life. My friend Jared, my psychiatrist, Nigel in New Zealand, you know, people at the club, like my friend Alex, is very protective of me, even holding me in a bear embrace, making sure every man in the club sees that I am liked and I am respected and I am protected if necessary. It's delightful. It's really delightful. Some woman that has been coming regularly said to me, oh, I'm glad that blonde man moved away. It was getting on my nerves. I just looked at her and said, oh, really? He's actually a lovely man. She looked at me. I don't know what that was about. He wasn't doing anything to it, just doing his moshing like I do, dancing, being happy. So you see, sometimes people are judgmental, and, you know, she didn't like that I defended him, but he's my friend, you know, and my Brooklyn Standard friend, because it stays in that container. But I'm a true friend. I'm a very fucking potent enemy, but I'm a true friend to the end, people. That's my warrior goddess spirit. Anyway, she left that after that, but she had actually told me that she'd already been to Pink, so she was probably tired after having a big night out. It was surprising how many people came to the club after they'd been to the Pink concert. They were still partying on and came to the Brooklyn Standard. It got quite busy halfway through. So from about 12:30, but to about 12:30 on, it got very, very busy. It was all the people coming from the Pink concert, and they were wild and ebullient and going completely off, and oh well, we had a good night, and that's what counts. And so memories, 18th of February 2024, asthma, skin cancers and CPTSD, but the dance continues. Here's what used to be my one and only truest beau, my main man, that even Dave was so threatened and envious of when I got him as a puppy, that I knew then that he was a dead shit and it would never be any good. Who the fuck is jealous of a little puppy? Only a sicko, that's who. And I remained still in denial about it and still kept in contact for quite some years after. But I knew people that aren't nice to my dog or my cat or my bird, they're not worthy of being in my presence. They're low grade scum. And it hurts to say that because the love at that time was real. But that's how it's borne itself out in the end. Low grade scum. But he was running after me on the 13th of December because there's still some soul connection between us, which is a bit fucking disturbing, quite frankly. But where you gonna find a woman like that, Dave? Never. And I have real loves in my life, people who are kind to me, treat me with honour and integrity and are honest and say, you know, I do love you, but I am married. That's respectful. And as I said, the only one that calls me baby girl. It's kind of cute given how old I am. Anyway, it's a sweetness that I cherish deeply, you know. Haven't had much sweetness from men in my lifetime. I think, quite frankly, this is the sweetest it's ever been for me in my entire life. So thank you to you, my darling. And the other one coming up, hey babe. I noticed at the end of the night, so he has got a little bit of a crush. Look, it's probably not even a crush per se, it's probably just fucking curiosity, because he knows me from Irish Murphys back in 2013 and 14, up until early 2015 when I used to dance there. He's probably just curious about me, seen me dancing wildly for many years and sees that I maintain my single status, probably thinks, what's the deal with this woman, you know? So anyway, at the end of the night, his name's Glenn. He was, I was sitting at the table having just a little rest before I walked out of the club because Ramjet was packing up, you know, they'd finished and they were packing up. And I was just having a little bit of going within, a little bit of a rest, because I've been dancing for hours, and when the band finishes it's always like an anticlimax. It's just like, oh, it's over now, and I have to shift gears, shift my psyche back into my other world of, you know, isolated older woman walking home to my car, which at times is dangerous, right? Had someone try and jump in my car a few weeks ago. That was freaky shit. And so I have to kind of prepare myself mentally for exiting the club and walking to my car. So I have to kind of shift focus from wild berserker Viking Jewish woman dancing, shamanic dancing, to right now I have to go out into the streets of Brisbane and it's not exactly safe. And so I'm sitting there just, going within and merging everything and building up mana for the walk. As Scott calls it, the walk, you know, the walk to the car. So I was sitting there kind of doing that, and I look up and Glenn's standing in front of the table, you know, that big coffee table where I sit, but in front of it blocking what would be my exit. He's done that a few times. I don't know if he's consciously doing it because he hopes that that will be an excuse for me to stop and talk to him or what, or hoping that I'll stay longer. I don't know what that's about really. Anyway, I'm sure he's a very sweet person, but he's a bit inadequate and doesn't know how to approach me and talk to me. It's like, I'm not that fucking scary. Just talk to me like a real man would do. I must be scary though, since the ones that think they like me can't seem to be able to pull it together, right? Never mind. It's like, I'm okay. I'm okay with that. But anyway, I just observed him blocking my exit, and I just smiled wryly to myself and closed my eyes for a few moments thinking, what the fuck? Oh well, I'll just sit here until he moves. You know, I'm no great hurry to go home. Sometimes I stay a bit longer and dance till they actually kick us out, you know, but very rarely do I do that. I usually leave as soon as the band finishes. I'm out. So I just sat there a little bit longer, you know, just watched the crowd, observed him, and he moved away, and I got up very dignified and exited the club very dignified, as I do every weekend. The magic is over. When the band finishes, the magic leaves with me. My magic leaves with me. It's like, yep, see you next week. I come out, I go up the stairs, I come out and always say to the security guards, see you next week. And one of them says to me, see you next week, darling. I'm like, oh, doesn't usually call me darling. They really liked that red Mexican dress. I may wear it more often. It really got them all stirred up. Viva la revolución. The Tanya has her own little revolution going on in her head, wanting a better paradigm for us all to live in, and a better life, and safety and freedom and joy and bliss and true honouring loves. That's what I'm wanting for planet Earth. How about you? So it is a tad delusional, people, at times, but that's what I'm wanting out of life, always and forever. 18th of February 2023. Oh, that photo was taken in February, 18th February 2023. So it's a bit fucking horrific to think that he died on the 1st of August, pardon me, 2023, only a few months later. 6 months later. It's just awful. It's fucking awful. The pain in my bruised shin bone is quite persistent. The bruise is hardly visible, but it hurts along the bone ridge. I still went dancing last night, but I came home early as my lungs are not feeling great either, which reminds me I still need to get a script for Ventolin. Fuck it. Means I have to see a doctor. Double fuck it. I'll ask Brian if he can write a script for Ventolin. I don't know if he can, but oh well, it's worth a try. So between my old bruised bone and my squeezy lungs, it was amazing. I managed to dance for several hours. What I told you in my video yesterday, I will go out dancing unless I'm so ill that I physically am so depleted or exhausted that I can't. I even go out dancing with bad lungs, not with COVID though, didn't do that. I'm not an asshole. But with asthma, I will go out dancing even with a bruised old bone and a bit of a weak leg. Did that for years. 2018, when I had all that nerve pain in my left leg, could barely bloody walk. Out dancing, I still went. Probably did me the power of good, probably gradually healed that leg too. Anyway, here I write. The vibe was off too. This would have been at the Live Wire bar at the casino. Or was that my hypervigilance after the weird events last weekend? I decided to come home, But I went to McDonald's only to meet a man at their entrance who had utterly creeped me out at the live wire bar, shoving his hand down the panties of the woman he was dancing with. Gross. He was a very, very tall, very, very large man who used to show off in front of me, throwing $100 notes down for my friends' alter egos, which was a nice tip, by the way, $100 for each of them. I joked, I said, "Where's mine?" He'd actually only put down 200, so when I said, "Where's mine?" he threw down another 100. I looked at him. Generous, but a creep. So his generosity did not go unnoticed by me, but he's a creep, so don't choose him as a friend. He sees me, this is at the entrance to McDonald's after dancing at the live wire bar, and said, "Fancy meeting you here." I just stared at him, said, "Yes, fancy meeting you here, indeed." I have a feeling he followed me, as I had not noticed him in the Queen Street Mall when I walked to McDonald's, and he's an enormous man, a giant of a man, and large, here I write. He's a very large, tall man, so it's odd I did not notice him until outside the entrance to the escalators that go up to McDonald's in the Queen Street Mall there. He didn't try to engage with me, for which I am glad. Imagine trying to fight off someone that's fucking nearly 7 foot tall and 4 foot fucking wide. I mean, you'd have no hope at all. You'd have, it's a bit frightening actually. But in true Mama T style, my warrior goddess persona, he was more fucking frightened of me. Showing off, throwing money like a king. Oh, please. I'm not impressed by men throwing money around. I had money as a younger woman, and I was miserable. My life was a living hell. So, don't try and impress me by throwing money at my feet and hoping that I'll scrabble in your fecal matter to gain your favour. My relationship with money has been perverted and distorted after years of trauma too, being stripped of everything after my marriage broke down and stripped of everything in the property settlement and stripped of everything by the adult guardian aligning with my mother's con man husband in 2006, 2007. Then when he died in 2000 again, stripped of everything by his fucking con artist daughters. Then when my mother died, stripped of everything again by that evil, salacious, filthy will dispute, where the government again aligned with the abusers. So, you know what? Don't even mention money to me. It's a dirty subject to me now. It's filthy, it's tainted. It's disgusting how I've been treated in my entire life. So I might be poor and live in housing commission through no fault of my own, but I'm the richest woman in Brisbane today because I have fought to stay alive, and I have couth, and I have honour, and I have integrity, and I have true love in my heart. And the rest of it, nothing else matters. It's all illusion and delusion and other people's bullshit fantasies of what they think they'd like to do with me. Can't pull it together to have a proper conversation with me or invite me out on a date, by the way. But they can frotter around me like vermin. Don't worry, I'm well aware. I might be indulging that one a little bit because I can see he has a little bit of a crush and it's kind of sweet. But I'm well aware. People that are that acopic are not capable of a loving partnership with a woman. Or worse, they'll turn violent or rapey or do what Dave did and turn all my friends against me and be savage. Been there, done that. Got the fucking t-shirt, have we not? But yes. If you're wondering what I'm playing with there, it's a tassel that I use to hold my curtains back in the corner here. 18th of February 2022. Good news. I am being approved for the no interest loan scheme which means the lawnmower is on its way to me. Rivers of relief and happiness are flowing through me. I can have mastery over my own garden again. Well, that didn't last long since I still couldn't do the work and ultimately had to sell that lawnmower. No more begging strangers for help to mow or dealing with abusive contractors. Queen of my own garden, if not completely queen of my own destiny, but working on that too, smiley face. Well, no, that didn't work out, unfortunately, but now I get help from, ironically, from the Australian government that screwed me out of houses and businesses and sanity and safety for decades. They now send me caseworkers that come and do the lawns, and hopefully Abdul will be arriving on Monday as he promised. Get this bushwhacked back under control, right? Yay! Queen of my own destiny, darlings. I posted a photo. I won't show you because it's gross and it's a bit fucking borderline, but I did post it on Facebook, so I copied it across to Vocal Media. The big sores I had after Here I Write. 2 years later, no treatment, far out, scarifying of my flesh, terrifying. But I made that comment in 2022, and in 2020 I had those red lumpy oozy things with the skin cancers that got frozen at minus 165 degrees. So I am a bit worried about my schnoz, quite frankly. Might go and put some aloe vera on it. I did not even know they were cancers, been brewing them for over a year on my chest. I thought there was some weird menopausal acne. Anyway, that was ugly and distressing. But it healed. Got massive scars on my shoulders that looked like someone tore off my angel wings. Not that I was ever an angel, darling, but, well, I can ride that razor blade sometimes. I can be a bit angelic, or call upon my gods for protection, and then fucking look out, people, because I have built a relationship with the gods, with the Holy One, in all manifestations after decades of trauma. So you don't want me to call upon the angels, because they do come. They do arrive in a millisecond. I've seen it happen quite a few times. And yes, other people saw it happen too and were a bit frightened of me after that. So that's part of what went bad at Irish Murphy's, was I got a reputation as a mystic and an occultist, and they saw what happens when I call upon my angels. Place got tidied up very quickly. Anyway, I don't do that lightly, by the way. The angels are not at my service. They are messengers of God. They are in service only to God, and I am only a mere mortal. But if I ask for protection, they do come. And I had to make peace with that too. after the third strangulation when I realised something supernatural was protecting me. And I'm grateful. I'm grateful to my angels. Very grateful. But I'm also in awe and a little bit frightened of them too. Because if they chose to manifest that power through this little hobbit body, by the gods, I'd be dangerous. I really would. I'm well aware of that. So I won't go there. I treat it all with circumspection and deep respect and awe, like I do with my love life. Too much of a good thing is too much. Remember that. Always stand in perfect balance between your mind, body and spirit. You go too much the one way, out of balance, your body gets weird fucking diseases like gallstones and bladder issues and near-death experiences. Or worse, you get idiots trying to choke the life out of you. Or worse, you fall in love with dangerous idiots who are malevolent and vicious and spiteful and envious of you. So you have years floundering around in their fecal matter, not even of really your own choosing, because you didn't know they were a monster when you fell in love with them. But now my angels are protecting me, and I'm conscious of that. Every day they surround me with deep love and respect and awe, and they say to me, "You're going to be okay, Tanya." And I'll yell back, "Well, I don't fucking feel okay. I'm struggling to maintain this physical form on planet Earth. When are you going to let me out of this hellscape?" No, they keep me here for a reason, and it makes no sense to me either, people of Earth. What purpose do I serve? Wallowing around on the holy Shabbat, the Friday night, in clubs with drunk men and drunk women, dancing my wild shamanic dance. What purpose do I actually serve other than to be an example of how you can survive everything and everyone and still create and manifest joy from deep within your soul and still be in love with your true beloved ones? Maybe that's the only reason I'm there, to stand in defiance of my entire fucking life and our society. Maybe that's it. Or maybe the one that truly loves me will move heaven and earth to be with me. I don't know who that person is. I have a fairly good idea, but I'm not sure yet. The circumstances aren't right. It is what it is. And everyone else is intimidated by me and my capacity for love. Which, by the way, sometimes my capacity for love, even my mother said to me one time that she was jealous of the love I have inside me. Your own mother telling you that, what does that tell you? My capacity to love can be awe-inspiring at times. Had to let go of a lot of things with the getting of wisdom and aging process and nearly dying too many fucking times. I had to just let things go. But my love is an authentic, courageous, stoic, sometimes very blind love at times, not wanting to see the falsity and the paucity of other people's souls. It was a deep, deep fucking wounding that I had to heal from too. Here I write, 18th of February 2021, 1:11 a.m. Thank you, angels. Kiss, kiss, kiss. As gratitude is everything. Acknowledge the one seen and unseen, that love you and honour you and protect you and care for you and bless you. Always, always acknowledge. I even acknowledge that Dave in his day did a few small kindnesses for me, probably to lure me into a false sensation that, there was hope of our love between us. But anyway, there were times when it was, our love ran deep, and I know that, and I acknowledge that. Where are you going to find a woman like that? You'll never find a woman like me ever again. No man will. There's not many women like me. I mean, there's many women who've suffered almost as much as I have suffered. Don't get me wrong, my suffering is not unique. In fact, it's far, far too common. The child sexual abuse, the raping, the violations, the destroying of our body, mind and spirit, the divesting us of our wealth, the damaging our children. It's far too fucking common. But not many women have survived as much as I have survived and still stand up and stand in our truth and go dancing every weekend. Not many women have that level of courage and of mastery over their own traumas. I'm not big noting myself. I'm just saying that's the journey I've been on, and this is how far I've come, and why I'm looking forward to a loving partner, a man who sees me and cherishes and respects and adores me and is affectionate and romantic and passionate and loving, who will stand by my side in great pride and dignity and joy to have me as his woman. And I'm starting to see flickerings of that being shown to me, even with young Alex putting his arms around me with great pride, showing the crowd, she's my friend and I love her. To you, Alex. I'm not used to that even, that level of trust and sweetness and kindness has been shown to me in the past 6 months that I've been dancing at the Brooklyn Standard. Oh, and I will admit to this. I had a friend, Sylvia Nemtuzak, Sylvia, back in 2021, was putting quite a bit of pressure on me, wanting me to go dancing at the Brooklyn Standard. At one time, she invited me to go there, and I thought I got it wrong. I thought that I was going to drive to her place and we were going to go in together, like as friends. So I waited to hear from her to call me, so I'm ready now. And there was some misunderstanding. It was a bit fucked up and weird too. So as a consequence of that, I felt I was being played emotional games. I ended the friendship with her. But she was trying to get me to go to the Brooklyn Standard back then. So that's 3 years ago now. And I couldn't understand it because I had my little spot at the Treasury Casino Live Wire Bar regularly, had been there for many years. Didn't realise that they were trying to ease me out till they finally eased me out on the 5th of August last year, right? So anyway, she was saying, oh, you need to come and dance for Alter Egos at the Brooklyn Stand. I couldn't understand why. I'd been to the Brooklyn Standard a few times over the years, but not regularly. What's all this pressure for me to go there? What's all this pressure for me to follow Alter Egos everywhere? I don't need to follow them everywhere. They're always at the casino once a month. I don't chase after men, even men I love quite deeply. I'm not chasing them. They're there, dance for them. Also, I know he's married, so have respect. But they're there, I dance for them, and I go home. I see them once a month. But anyway, I was going to go with her that night, and She fucked me over. I got very angry about it. I admit, very angry about it. She messages me almost 24 hours later, so obviously she had to think about it, about why I didn't turn up to the Brooklyn Standard, right? So she messaged me and she says, where were you last night? I thought, you should have asked me that hours ago. Where was I last night if you really cared? Should have come and got me. Should have stayed true and met up and done things properly. I said, oh, well, you didn't contact me. I thought we were going to go from your house, as friends do. I made a point of saying, as friends do. I said, didn't hear from you, so I didn't go. What do you mean you didn't go? She said, I was waiting for you at the club. I thought we were meeting at the club. But I had all the messenger messages where we clearly delineated that I would come to her house first and, we'd leave together. It was all there in the fucking texts. I thought, this is crazy. This is too fucking crazy. It doesn't make sense. Why all this pressure to get me away from my Livewire spot to a new club? I thought, why all this pressure? So I didn't like it. So I didn't go and I didn't participate in that. What I thought at the time was horseshit. The other very strange thing was I had very spiritual, supernatural things happening. I was outside sanding back some wooden boxes with my sanders, and I had vibration in my hands from the sanders, and my hands were crippled with pain. In fact, they hurt just thinking about it. And then while I was doing that, I must have gone into a kind of in my zone, when I'm highly focused. And I was having spiritual messengers coming, and it was a weird experience, people. It was actually frightening. Haven't had that before. Because I was at the same time thinking, I'll go out tonight with Sylvia to the Brooklyn Standard, and I was actually looking forward to befriending her on a deeper level than just being someone, people who danced together at the Livewire bar for years, and prior to that at Irish Murphy's and the Elephant, I thought, she wants to deepen our friendship and see me outside of that container. I was happy about it, actually. So I'm focusing on all of this, sanding these boxes, and then the spirit, and it felt fucking demonic, quite frankly. It may not have been, but it was just so wanting to invade my energy while I was standing at the garden working. And it was like coming at me, and I had this like wall around me of about 3 feet. My aura had expanded, and I thought, why is that happening? Because I hadn't consciously done that. And I could feel this energy coming towards me, but each time it would only get within about 2 or 3 feet of me, and it would be repelled all around me, and it would come at me again, and something would repel it. Something, I don't know whether it was my own spirit or my higher mind or my angels, because I hadn't invoked any angel protection, but I could feel it batting at me. It was such a strange, really fucking frightening thing. I've never experienced anything like that before. I thought, I'm busy here working on this project, thinking about the Brooklyn Standard and going out with Sylvia and looking forward to it, and I'm having this energy almost batting at me like bats being let out of belfry trying to get at me, and they'd sort of come and bounce off this like kind of wall I had around me, which I hadn't invoked, and then they would be repelled. I thought, this went on for several hours, people, and I thought, what the fuck is this? I'd stop and rest my hands and take a break, have a cup of tea and go back into the sanding, and again it would happen, and again it would happen, and again it would happen. I thought, right, there's something very fucking spiritual going on today, and I'm not liking the flavour of it, so I'll stay home. That was the other reason I stayed home. Anyway, I ended the friendship with Sylvia because it took her over 24 hours to go, where were you last night? I was waiting for you. I was like, well, you didn't communicate. Don't communicate. We're not really friends, are we? Block, delete. I I don't compromise with people playing fucking emotional games with me anymore. So that was back in 2021, people. She actually did apologise. So I'm really sorry. I mean, yeah, that's okay. I accept your apology. Block, delete. So I wonder what she'd think if she knows that I've been going now to the Brooklyn Standard since the 25th of August, and how wonderful people have actually been to me and how much loved and respected I am. And probably that's what she was wanting me to find out and experience, right? That's probably what her intentions were. Because, you know, she's Yugoslavian, she's from, I can't remember if she's Bosnian or Serbian or Croatian. I think she's Croatian, you know. So she has her own gift. She's a witch too. She probably knew that I would be welcomed there and that it would be my new safe container since the casino went rancid on me. She probably had my best intentions in the world, but anyway, I had to find that out for myself in my own time, on my own merits. I had to hold my ground the first night I went there because there was a lot of fucking creepiness from, there's a whole video about it, Scottish Carl and Dave's cousin Chris circling around me like a fucking predator all night. And I was very fucking stressed, by the way, but I was rising above it. And I had these young men dancing in front of me and looking up at me, being all weird, and then one young man threw his head back and screamed, trying to frighten me off, right? Mama T doesn't frighten easy, baby. I've survived worse than that. Grow the fuck up. So I'm watching these little boys playing their little weird infantile game, and when he finished screaming, I just leaned over and said, "Oh yeah, mate, I remember my first orgasm too." Hilarious. Anyway, after that I was completely welcomed and accepted there, and Scott even was looking at me from the stage. Chris was still watching every move I made because I'd actually moved away to get away from him. I'd been to the loo and I positioned myself opposite Scott, further back in the crowd, to get space from that fucking idiot who would have only run back to tell Dave, "Oh, she's at the Brooklyn Standard now." Gossip, maliciousness, infantile schoolboy behaviour too. Anyway, Scott must have been watching all this going down from his position up on the stage, because he looked at me and he mouthed, "I love you." And I mouthed back, "I love you too," and nodded. And Chris, who was still watching me even though I'd removed myself from his vicinity, nearly shat himself. And interestingly, Chris and Scottish Carl, you know, and certainly Dave, have not dared show up at that club since that evening. Or they might go on a Saturday night, but they haven't been there ever again on a Friday, knowing that I'm there now. Isn't that wonderful? Yes, because they know I am amongst friends and people who do love me. Literally say, "I love you" to me. So, never fuck with the Tanya. I'm a very good woman. I'm a very loving woman. I'm a very kind woman. But don't fuck with me because I have angels. Just saying. Some of my angels are in human form and love me dearly. And I love you back dearly. 18th of February 2020. I woke up at 7 a.m. What the actual fuck? I never wake up early. I've been consumed with exhaustion, mental, spiritual, physical, for weeks. I know what is wrong. I have anxiety about seeing the skin doctor today because I had a few creepy fucking skin doctors being sleazy with me too. Can you imagine? You try not to die of skin cancer and you get lasciviously slathered on by some fucking creep who, by the way, in so doing that, put their entire career in jeopardy. It was fucked up to 2020. It was a bad year, by the gods. I have anxiety about seeing the skin doctor today. Well, why wouldn't you? So my brain fights me by making sure I am alert and ready for action. Clever brain, annoying brain, I need my sleep. So I'm back in bed, resting a bit longer, until I need to shower and shape up for my new ordeal. It's not so bad. Meeting a new doctor is always stressful for me, but I can do this. It's just a skin check, then I can forget about it for another year. Do you like how I try and talk myself down? Again I write, because it came up in my memories from 2014. I had the second melanoma on my right hand cut out. It hurts like Hades, but had already turned black, so it had to go. I went with Lynn, who also had one cut out of her arm. And I replied, "Thanks, beautiful Louise," who would have written, "Get well soon, Tanya." I was struck by the history repeating on the exact day I had cancers cut out of my hand. I find it odd how that keeps happening, like I'm stuck in a groove on a cracked record. The last time I went, Dr. Sleaze just blasted my cancers with a kind of laser light. No cutting or biopsies needed, but they would have been early stage ones. I suspect the gnarly one on my tattoo will need cutting, which will ruin my tattoo. And I'm fairly pissed off as I told Dr. Sex Crazed One about it, and he said it was nothing. Well, these comments are from 3 years ago, so I know they're not. 3 years since I posted that on 2014. Oh yeah, that makes sense. I always struggle to maintain truth. So I'm struggling to maintain the exact memory, people, so I can maintain my truth. Can you imagine how fucked up I'll be if I get Alzheimer's and can't remember my own truths anymore? That's why I write every day and make YouTube videos every day. I repeat, and I'm fairly pissed off as I told Dr. Sex Crazed One about it, and he said it was nothing, but it has grown a hard crust and as often is itchy, so I will ask for it to be removed. The ones on my shoulders next to old scar tissue from excisions often sting. They will need a zap or something. Full on had to go right back into the old scar tissue and dig it all out in the actual freshly healed scar tissue. My Muslim doctor now, who's got the bedside manner of a psychopath but is actually a very good surgeon, he said to me, "I'm sorry I have to go into old scar tissue, it's going to really hurt," which it did. All good, I will heal. It takes me longer than other people with my sleep apnea and trauma issues, but I will heal again. Tough old bird. Here I wrote, this was back in 2014, I think. Well, that was painful. He froze off the thingy, or I had this thing on my forehead that had actually grown back. One on my thigh, got another one on my thigh again, have to get that out. Several on my back and shoulders, and 2 on my tattoo sitting close together. It is hurting like Hades, still burning, but better to have them frozen off than turn malignant. I've had quite enough malignancy in my life. I was pleased as there was a young woman to supervise. Even then, I did not strip down all the way down. No, this was in 2020 this happened. No need. Now sitting at Carindale Food Court with a peach iced tea and some vegetarian spring rolls, feeling fragile but only because those pre-cancers hurt a lot. Gonna head home and contemplate my future, one breath at a time. Now I just got a call from my optometrist, booked in for Thursday, Arvo. I need to see him again actually. Need new glasses and my eyes aren't, I think they've deteriorated again. Starting to shake with a delayed trauma response. That is how much my body hates being tampered with, even if it's to avoid skin cancers. So off home I go. Could do with a nice cuddle with a loving man right now, needing comfort. It's sad, isn't it? It's really fucking sad, people. In 2020 I had written a comment on that memory about the hand being chopped up. I am off to the skin doctor today. I put it off for 1.5 years. Stupid thing to do. I hope they don't have to cut anything out of my shoulders. They did. Or upper arm. One cancer right in the middle of my tattoo is worrying me. It's a new doctor. I stopped going as the last one was getting a little too sleazy. That was making me feel uneasy. Hopefully everything is fine. I am dreading it now. I don't trust any doctors except my psychiatrist now. So you can imagine how I feel about the prospect of having to go to the Mater Public Hospital to have 8 or 10 injections of Botox inserted in my bladder under general anaesthetic, which means I'll be fucking unconscious and I don't know what they're going to do to me while I'm out. I'm terrified, people. Terrified of that prospect. But anyway, hopefully it will be fine when that time arises that they finally give me the Botox treatment. Jesus. I also noted on that day, 2020, 18th of February, I lost another of the large goldfish. Only one survivor left in that pond and he is not looking too perky either. Fuck. Why are my fish dying? I have not done anything differently. 18, I'm only down to 2 now. The one that had suffered for quite some years with terrible cancerous tumours finally passed away a few weeks ago in the heat wave, about 6 weeks ago. Bless his little fishy heart. He hung on to life a long time. He was intrepid like me. We were simpatico. But I probably should have culled him earlier, but he kept swimming and eating and chasing the girly fish, and I thought, where there's life, there's hope, you know. He was still seemingly living a normal fishy life, even though he had a fucking hole in his back and cancers everywhere. So I'm glad he's at peace now. 18th of February 2019, 12:57 p.m. My smoke alarm just went off by itself for a few seconds. No smoke in the house, not even cooking. Here it goes again. What the fuck? I am resting in bed. I guess spirit wants me to get up. Here I post a meme. I'll show it to you. You will be too much for some people. They are not your people. Ain't that the truth? We can name them, can't we? The people that are not my people. Ah, well, not to worry. I'm happy with my life at the present moment of time. I'm utterly exhausted from the constant broken sleep with my bladder and my sleep apnea feeding into each other, slowly killing me. But I'm almost euphoric, dreaming still, as always, as I've always done, of my truly loving partner choosing me and ultimately cohabiting with me. Psychedelic dreamer dreams opulently of true love and comfort and romance and passion and affection and devotion and loyalty and faithfulness to me. I'm in a hellscape, aren't I? I live in hell. It's all delusional and it's never going to be real. That's how I get. Then I get suicidal and think, what's the point? Got no reason to live. It's nothing to look forward to but ugliness, and false men, and feckless fake lovers. And then I think about my friend Scott and alter egos and how sweet and kind he is to me. And I think about Alex and how sweet he is to me. And I think about acopic Glenn, who doesn't know how to approach me or treat me properly, but bottom bumped me a few weeks back, so I patted him on the arse and said, returning the compliment. And now he doesn't know what to do because he's seen there's a deep affection between me and Scott. So to compete, he comes up, hey babe. I might tell him next time I see him, you know, we could be great friends, platonic, and I'm not actually that intimidating, but I'm not your babe. But sometimes it's better to just say nothing at all. They'll work it out in the end. There's no need to terrorise them and create enmity. I'm not their enemy. I do think they're sweet. It's kind of sweet how he flutters around me like a moth to a flame. It is sweet. I'm observing it all with great amusement and circumspection, but I'm also carefully monitoring to try and work out which man really loves me and really means it and really wants me in his life, because that's what I'm waiting for. I mean, it's not rocket science. 18th of February 2018. And as Scott pointed out, I may never find a man like that in the club. Just like many years ago, the president of my, not mine, the president of the clubhouse I used to go to for 8 months also said to me, you'll never find a man or partner in this clubhouse, Tanya. I simply won't allow it. No man here is good enough for you. And then I realised his love for me ran deep too. He had a partner and he was unavailable, so we kept that affection in a safe container too, and he never laid a hand on me or was inappropriate. But I knew that man adored me because he wanted me to have a man that is good enough for me and capable of being my man. I looked at him, I went, so I can't come to this clubhouse then anymore. And he looked at me and I walked out. I went down the road a bit there at Woolloongabba, so you know which clubhouse now if you know Woolloongabba. And I looked in an antique shop and I seethed with rage at the fact that yet again someone was sabotaging any chances of me finding a loving partner. But I thought about it, looking into the window in the antique shop, and I was conscious that my friend Mario was standing back watching me process it all, because he knew me well and he did love me on some level. And I walked back up the street to him and I said, "See you next week then, Mario. See you next week, love." He admired my courage and my strength and my love. I got arsehole out of there by the young guard with a teeny tiny lady pistol, which was not nice, and I'm fair pissed off about it to this day. But that too was a way of protecting me, driving me out of there when they knew shit was about to go seriously bad here in Brisbane and the Gold Coast. Once again, my angels created a situation where I had to give up the dream of love and move on, as they do from time to time. And I'm curious to know why I was really driven out of the live wire bar at the Treasury Casino. They said, Greg Hersom said to me, "You're not 5-star enough for this new venue that's nearly finished being built." That's how they drove me out, humiliated and degraded me, telling me I'm not good enough, right? But I'm trying to work out the higher reason behind that as to why I was driven out. Perhaps, hindsight 2020 or 2023, there may have been a most beneficial higher reason for it, so that they knew I would be driven to go to another club where I might actually be made welcome for a change and treated with sweetness and kindness and protected and loved. So fuck you, Treasury Casino, Live Wire Bar, and fuck you, Greg Hersom, you low-level crass entity that I actually thought was an ally and a friend. You did me a favour. Jesus. It's ironic, isn't it? It's ironic. But life goes on. Natanya continues with her dance, living her best life, and her psychedelic dream of true love, by the way, which at times gets a little bit disturbing even by my own standards. February 18th 2018, 4:11 a.m. Another awesome night dancing with Jenny, Terry and Chris. I had a great time but will be in recovery mode for next week. My leg is sore. That's the leg with all the nerve pain, by the way. I was dancing on a very damaged, sore leg, pushing myself through. Feet sore, but it was worth it. 18th of February 2017. Trigger warning, CSA, suicide. Written in 2017, right? I promised myself to have some fun before I died, just over 5 years ago, in the midst of a horrible, ugly, soul-destroying will dispute. A will co-authored by a vile con man, Buck Shearer, and his greedy spawn, Jennifer and Sonia Shearer. Scum they were, and no doubt still are. It was easy to blame them, the outsiders who came, fucked my mother, stripped her of much of her most valuable possessions. Then Granny dumped her to die alone in a nursing home. How shocked they must have been that a traitor in their midst phoned me anonymously and demanded I go see my mother, who had been abandoned there 3 weeks earlier. Up till then, no one had bothered to contact me to tell me that their evil, salacious, filthy father was dead. I might never have known, which I'm sure that's what they were hoping, right? Trash that they are. Well, my angels will be dealing with them, no doubt, or God, because karma is a bitch and it's a dish best served cold, by the way. So the estranged daughter, Vatanya, got up one more time and did right by Gisela, my mother. I lost another 4 years to her until her eventual death 18 months later, and then the final slog of that atrocious will that I only fought against because I deserved better. The vitriolic lies were enough to kill me. So here I sit with 2 front teeth from Christmases long since past, a mockery of a song my father bade me sing to him as a toothless 7-year-old, yet never realised that, slap-happy, hitting me constantly in the face would cause me to lose my adult teeth as well. Even that filthy pedophile, Trevor Singh, warned my mother not to hit me in the face. She will lose her teeth, he said. It's a strange dichotomy, a cognitive dissonance, when a small child who is being sexually abused finds her attacker to be a better, more loving parent than her own. It used to make me sick. It was enough to run to the beach, sit for hours perched on a craggy outcrop, farthest out to the sea, and call upon the gods to either save me, get me away from these people, or drown me. The waves, always fierce and fed by Antarctic streams, so bitterly cold, would lash my hair and eyes with tears of sea foam, a fine rainbow of salty mist and a constant promise of eternity. Wave after wave crashing on those rocks, never ending, never lying. You are a child of the universe. This too shall pass. Hold on. I would fight the gods of sea and air, of Christian epithets, suffer the little children to come unto me. It's right there in their dogma. Evil it is. Evil. Filthy, lying religions that promised hope and peace and love, and most of all, redemption from hell and damnation for good little girls, but embraced its pedophiles like champions and let little children believe they had no voice, no worth, no chance of safety except by their ever-loving ministrations. Then only for a very select few of the good ones. No Jews, Muslims, Hindus, Sikhs, Buddhists allowed. No little girls with a mind of their own and a taste for defiance in the face of religious bigotry, atrocity, and treachery. This kid chose Judaism which was my delight, my coming home to my people, a nation of survivors and warriors and intellectuals, until that too was stained and stymied by more bigotry and more cascades of trauma. My religion is love. I have died for that one 1,000 times, not by choice. No sane person chooses martyrdom, but men came and men left, and lies were told. They strangled my throat. They tried to destroy me, the woman, the wounded lost child that was just trying to find a home, a lover or friend, or partner who could love me and keep me without harming me. An authentic person. No lies, no betrayals, no cheats. But the psychedelic dream spiraled under. The contractions before each new delivery and slow progress into a new paradigm brought pain and suffering. Suffering so intense she was dead. Dead to the world and almost dead to herself, which is why you will always see me go completely off and berserk and wild to the song Zombie, because I have lived that dream too for decades, people, decades. But a little thing called desire held on. Desire for hope, and then hope for serenity, true loves, true friendships, prosperity, happiness. That desire was a never quenched hunger and a never slaked thirst. A fire that never died out, but emblazoned the universe in its fiery resolve. Like all human manifestations, it was a trap from which she might have had to gnaw her own arm off, change her mind, lose her mind, leap from galloping Mustang to boltering Brumby mid-ride. But I have had fun before I died. The first and last hurrah, the best of times out in the world. Still waiting for Godot, for my life to blossom outwards and inwards, for the rot to be purged, and for the one who loves me no matter what to step up to claim me. You're out there, my darling. I can feel you in my heart and soul. You're out there. My man. Mine. Not out of possession or control or, ugliness. No. An equal, a king to my queen, an honouring, devoted, loving man who I can in turn be devoted to and honour and love back. It's beautiful. My dream, I've been dreaming it a long time. One day I hope to wake up and it's my reality, for real this time. Sweet, innit? Fairy stories, Tatiana, Queen of the forest fae. A tad delusional, but funny and adorable, and always, always worthy. Well, I wrote that in 2017, and here we are, 2024, 7 years later. It's starting to build and manifest in beautiful, harmonious, respectful, honouring, loving ways. Hasn't quite landed yet, but I'm not forcing the issue in any factor of my life. I'm just trying to heal my bladder right now, and that might be another impossible task. And I'm trying to remain sanguine in my own gnosis of the world that I'm left to live in after the last 4 years of abject horror. And I'm waiting patiently, circumspectly, but also with great bemusement, for the one to claim me as his own woman. I may yet be taken by surprise. It may yet be a delightful shock to my system. Or it may be nothing. It's in the lap of the gods, my angels, my ancestors who love me, the Holy One in all manifestations, and my ever mischievous fae. But the love is real, and the love is potent, and the love is the law, and the love is magical, and the love is beautiful, and the love is sacred. February 2016, 1:54 a.m. Eating yogurt, watching Netflix, Jessica Jones. I made more paper. I think I might be getting better at it. I will have to wait until it all dries before I know if I wasted my effort or not. Getting hungry, people. See me getting all antsy? I've just left my body and I'm now thinking I'm hungry and I need to eat soon. Disassociation in the middle of my readings. Not good, people. What can I do? 8:14 a.m. My feet ache so bad I feel like I have septic arthritis, which I had in 2012. It was very life-threatening then. I feel weak and drained from the heat. My body is aching after my effort arranging the bathtub, as I had to collect and carry bricks to prop one end of it up. I feel very tired today. Hopefully I will have an early night, as Jared, the dogs, and I are going to Byron tomorrow. 1:35 p.m. Just woke up. I had intense dreams about travelling on a bus that, instead of a 10-minute trip to Brisbane City, took me on a scenic route to Sunbury, spelt Sunbury. Don't even know if that's a real place, but that was the name that was given to me in the dream. It's interesting, I had a dream of similar themes. This dream is about a rape or an attempted rape, and this morning's dream was about some man trying to fob me off, matchmaking me with a stranger, which could lead to a rape situation. Let's be real here. So it's weird that all these years apart, on the same date, 18th of February, this dream was in 2016, So 8 years later, the themes are very similar. It's a bit freaky, people. It's freaking me the fuck out. So 18th of February must be a date locked away in my psyche somewhere from my childhood where something very, very bad must have happened, that this theme keeps recurring, this nightmare keeps recurring, right? I'm assuming that's what's going on. I might be wrong, but it's odd. It's odd that it's a similar theme. Anyway, I continue with describing the dream. Along a coastal drive with beach views, and after miles and miles of beach and scenic scenery, Crystal was travelling with me, and we got really pissed off about the long journey, then happy, then irritated again. There were beach sculptures and interesting cloud formations out to sea. I kept seeing A shapes, but a handsome young man on the bus saw the letter C. A and C. AC/DC? I don't know what that means, but it was a strange thing to be seeing in the dream. Clouds shaped like A's and C's. Possibly someone's initials, but I don't know anyone with A and C. Some woman with 2 little girls hit on him, the handsome man that saw on the bus, right? Some woman with 2 little girls hit on him, and he rebuffed her with a very Greek accent in a poetic, almost Shakespearean style. I admired his wit and verbiage, so I laughed. He felt relieved to have a much older mother figure watch out for him. Yes, Mama T can be protective even of men in my presence when I see it's called upon or needed. I am a mother. I am a warrior goddess. I am a woman. I'm very fucking protective of other people, which is why I always take great delight and greatly appreciate when in turn I am also protected. It's a great honour when I receive protection, by the way. But don't stymie my potential love relationships. Don't be jealous. Don't be envious. Let me have my one true love, who may or may not manifest in the near future. I wish only the best for you, my friends, that you also have your true loves in your lives. So don't prevent me from having mine, please. That's not cricket. It's not nice. It's not cool. Don't be like Dave Charles and Sarah Burt and Lana and all those other putrid, ugly borderlines and psychopaths that I had to heal from back in 2014 and 15 and 16 and 17 and 18 and 19 and 2020. Don't be crass, low-level entities like them. I am worthy of a great and true love manifested in my life now. I've only waited almost 59 years. Be kind. Be compassionate. Be merciful. I've done you no harm but spoken my truth of how fucking venal you were towards me. Which I'm entitled to that much at least, after the horror you all put me through, you dogs. The woman went back to her seat with her girls, looking dismayed. There were gold baby bracelets thrown on the floor, 3 of them. I called out, "You girls better pick up those bracelets or you will lose them, and your mother would be devastated." So they did, and their mother nodded to me in gratitude. We eventually arrived at an antique shop that also sold Siamese fighter fish. The woman who owned the shop was a dour, businesslike German. I myself was dressed like a gypsy, so I put my shawl over my head and sunglasses over my eyes as the heat was intense. For real, in my boudoir, I woke up sweating. I saw many interesting things, but I did not buy anything as I was, characteristically, broke, even in my fucking dreams, people. Will I revoke all vows of poverty and chastity and trauma and deceit and fake love? I revoke it all, and in that void I invite abundance, prosperity, peace, better health, a loving, loyal, faithful, devoted partner who truly loves and adores and values and cherishes me and honours me, and true, loyal, devoted, loving friends and community and or tribe, and success in all our endeavours, together or as individuals, surrounded by courage and honour to face down the enemy of our times, the scourge of our times. Surrounded by great, loyal, faithful love at all times, morning, noon and night. My man, my friends, his truly loving, honouring friends, our business associates, if I get a business going, or if he's a businessman, I don't, because I don't know who this man is yet. But I will be included in his life, and I will be treated with great regard and respect and care and great affection and kindness. Not like my ex-boyfriend that ended back in 2010, who thought it was okay to have his friends threaten me with an ornamental samurai sword, and thought it was okay to threaten me with knuckle dusters and tell his mother he was going to smash my face to a pulp while I slept. No, I don't want that in my life. I don't want a man who is low-grade entity, scummy friends threatening me. Or a man like Dave, who I fell in love with, who thought it was okay to bring every harlot in Brisbane and trot them up right in my face, trying to base me. Or like my lover Marco, who did the same with my friend Seagal. No, I will be loved. I will be the chosen one, treated with deep care and honour and deepest love. Because otherwise, frankly, I'm better off alone. And if things get worse for me, as life has a way of doing, I'm better off dead than live a life of horror like that ever again. And it's a viable option, people. Never forget that when you see me dance to self-righteous suicide. It's a viable fucking option. But every day, in every way, I choose life, which is my Jewish programming, by the way. and my defiance and my fierce, powerful, courageous, stoic, determined spirit that chooses life over and over again, even when life has been many times fucking untenable. So there's a reason why I'm a bit fucking prickly when I can see people playing me for a fucking fool, thinking I'm some docile, munted down, demented bitch. I have no idea what they're dealing with, babies. Because again I rise, and again I rise, and yet again I rise, until the day comes when my time arises that I can rise no more, and then I will die. I continue with the dream. I was not buying anything. The shopkeeper yelled out to me as we all left her shop to climb back on the bus. There is the richest woman I have ever met, for all her needs are met, and she lacks nothing. Well, my fridge is empty at the moment, and my pantry's pretty empty, and I need to stock up and fill my fridge with food. But all my needs are met. I can get through until payday. But I'm conscious that I'm constantly skating on thin ice financially, and that too makes me feel like giving up some days. It's not good, people. It's not good. But I'm holding my own on planet Earth, keeping my head just barely above water. And as I was worrying about the food situation, on Friday, some lovely young couple came randomly out of nowhere, didn't know them from Adam, brought me a loaf of bread. So while I was worrying about my lack of food, my angels sent me messengers with bread. So you see, even in the dream, there is the richest woman I have ever met, for all her needs are met, and she lacks nothing. And so it is, and so it will always be. I must try not to waste important life force energy on worrying, because it always comes, maybe a little late, maybe not quite enough, but it always comes, and also will come my truly loving partner in time. And he will share resources with me and be proud and happy to contribute to the household coffers, not coffins, to put food on our table so we can eat and drink together in abundance and great joy and great peace and great love and passion and romance. My wonderful man out there, my fantasy man who adores me. I smiled and waved back, and Crystal thanked her. Like Rapunzel, I should be out there getting Rumpelstiltskin to turn my straw into gold, right? It's funny how I have kind of incorporated all the archetypes from every fucking fairy story I ever read as a child. Many mythologies too, into my spirit. And believe me, they have nourished and protected me too. That wisdom handed down in our lore. is also at times for me been a bit fucking depressing at times, but also there's been great wisdom and guidance that have come out of that. The Disney version, someday my prince will come. Well, I'm old now, so he has to have up-leveled and he has to be a king to my queen. It's funny, I woke up with that song the other day, Love Story by Taylor Swift, saying, you'll be the prince and I'll be the princess, and it's real. And I'm like, oh fuck, my angels are teasing and taunting me right now. And why would they tease and taunt me, people of Earth? Because they're preparing my mind for the one, so that I will be not quite so shocked as I joked about earlier. And stand and say, welcome, I've been waiting for you for 59 years, or 60, or 61, or 62, or however long it takes, right? Welcome, my truly beloved one. Don't worry, it's just me dying and going off in the heat. I'm just a mirage. I'm just your nightmare. I'm not real. They'll be writing songs of me one day, like dear old Simon out there somewhere in Jindalee promising to write me a song, another trickster spirit, but never mind. I'm sure it was a good idea he had in his mind to try and lure me in. It was intriguing at the time. So my beautiful friend Jared wrote me 2 songs for my business. Thank you, Jared. My business that never manifests either. What does Quentin Crisp used to say? If at first you don't succeed, quit, because there's no point making a damn fool of yourself. And if you keep failing, failure is your style. Oh, I had to make peace with that too over the decades. Failure being my style, but it wasn't by choice. It was thrust upon me by abusers over and over again. Which is why you see me go insane in my videos when I'm making a piece of jewellery and I'm struggling with it to succeed, like the 3 days I fought to get that snake bracelet done. And you see me almost self-hating, saying, why can't I pull it together, and why am I so useless, and what's wrong with me, and why am I such a fuck up? And my friend Lynn had to ring me and say, can you stop talking to yourself like that? It's really ugly and sabotaging and awful, and it's not good, Tanya. And I was like, it's just upset because I'm so sick of failing, and I'm trying so hard to make something of myself at this late stage of my life, in the hope that I'll be prosperous enough and self-determined enough to get off the pension and have my own wealth and be able to afford to live with a man who I love. It's that pathetic, people. But that's what's driving me underneath all of that. Absolute fear of never making it. Okay? That's why I'm a bit cray-cray. That's why people think they can kick me in the face at every turn. Like Greg, the techie guy at the Livewire bar, didn't like me having my little spot and being courageous and dancing wildly and joyously every weekend. They want to take even that from me, because bottom line, they want me dead. Well, here I am, holding my own against their opinions of me, living triumphantly and joyously, even if it means I have to remain alone. Freedom is the price I pay. And aloneness. But to remain free, I gladly pay it. And the craving for a love partner who will love me but allow me the freedom to be me at all times, that's a bonus, people. It's a sweet, sweet dream. A sweet, sweet fantasy, baby. Hey, babe. It's beautiful, but it's also terrifying. Just saying. I smiled at the woman and waved back, and Crystal thanked her. Then we got on the bus and travelled for what seemed like hours again, past rocky terrain, which we climbed up from one of the beaches. I struggled to climb, but I managed. But one man, who was missing a hand, needed help. This is my dreamscape, people. By the gods, it was detailed, wasn't it? A handless man needing a hand. A few of the men propositioned me, but I rebuffed them bluffly. They were listening into a conversation I had about the hookers at Kangaroo Point and or Story Bridge, and assumed I was one of them. I told them, don't bloody listen into my stories and make assumptions based on not listening properly. They were ashamed and walked off. The bus driver gave me a wink. You can hold your own for sure, he said. I said, I know, right? Years of practice. Where are you driving us anyway? Are we on the scenic route to hell? He just smiled. So now I am awake, planning a trip to Byron Bay tomorrow. Okay, I was wrong. That wasn't the dream about the attempted rape, but it was, there was a lot going on in that dream, a lot I can unpack. Well, I did, didn't I? Pay attention to your dreams, people. They are flags, red flags sometimes, or way showers, or trauma processing at times. But they're potent. There's a reason why I am, to this day, since early childhood, the psychedelic dreamer. And verily, it saved me, my life, and the last 4 years, my dreaming. "7:11 p.m, dripping in sweat, had another productive afternoon. Recycled potting mix from a big tub, then set up the bathtub ready for a pump and lava rocks for my new aquaponic setup, which the fucking Housing Commission made me get rid of, by the way. Vicious they were. Goldfish in bottom tub, veggies in top tub. Paper still drying, but had to move it into the laundry as the wind came up. I cleaned out the chook nests, need to put fresh straw in them. Now I need a shower and a rest. Lying under the frangipani tree with a zephyr to ease the schwitzing heat and a cool drink of homemade peach tea. Need to buy more peaches. Peaches, peaches, peaches for you. Can't remember how that goes now. Kitty purring and looking so satisfied. Is that a different song? I think it is. Oops. I've laid out the homemade paper, so now I wait for it all to dry. I can hear my friend Jared laughing. I can feel him laugh. If he watched that video, I can sense him laughing because he knows I always mix up my songs and my lyrics. Okay, well, I have a learning disability from years of trauma, people. It's just the way it is. It says, It takes a day, but in this heat I'm hoping only a few hours to dry the homemade paper. I worry a bird might shit on it, or a stronger wind gust might blow them away. That used to happen. And here I rest on the new lounge chair cushion Jared found for me at Bogan Christmas. It's what we call curbside collection. It is surprisingly very comfortable. I am very happy with it all. I need to find or buy 2 more sets of mannequin arms for the other chairs. It looks really funky. I will have to check out. Oh, I meant funky in a good way, sorry. I will have to. Funky! Jesus. I'll have to check out Abso at West End. Too hot to be bothered today, though. They're no longer there, Abso. They've moved. 18th of February 2014. There are cavorting possums on my roof. The entire house was shaking, lol. I feel a little depressed and my hand is very sore after having a melanoma removed today. Lynn and I went together and supported each other in our minor surgery. She had one removed from her arm. We go back in 2 weeks for the removal of stitches and perhaps more excisions of other cancers. I am not enjoying this crappy middle-aged stage after a lifetime of sun exposure. Also, my teeth have been hurting a lot lately, and I'm hoping it's just sensitivity and not another major flare-up. I'm sick of having problems with my teeth. Other than that, after a lovely swim in Lynn's pool and the nice company overall, I had a lovely day. Crystal picked me up from Lynn's to bring my car back. Oh, fucking champion. And I'm happy to have my motor parked out front. Tomorrow I need to buy groceries, so I hope the pain in my hand lessens. Roll over Tuesday so I can buy groceries again, people. Situation normal. Jesus. Opened my bleary-eyed peepholes on the world, and what do you know? Hands still sore. Still a bit weary, so time to get up and get moving. Might play some music today to blow out some energy through the house. Almost 2 p.m. Went to bed at 4 a.m. Lots to do, but not much motivation. I need to buy cat food for Miss Penny at least, so I will hit the shops. I managed to drive to Aldi, Cooper's Plains, and buy groceries. It was very difficult trying not to use my right hand, which is an agony. I think I might finally give up and take some painkillers. I hate this shit. Loving the codeine, relief at last. Home from Gales. Talia was out of her mind and completely wild, but loves her Auntie Tanya. So we looked at the JB Hi-Fi catalogue to give Gail some space and had a cuddle, my attempt to calm her down. When Gail finally got her to sleep, we watched a bit of TV and Gail gave me this yummy Copperberg cider which tastes like strawberries, and she had a whiskey. Boy, did we need that booze. Talia is amazing, but hard work. She was a very gifted child with RAD and ADHD and reactive attention disorder, and it was awful. And the kid could be almost bordering on the demonic. Her head literally used to almost spin. It was fucking hard. Gail called out for me, head down, ass up in the fridge. She called, Tatiana. I said to her, hardly anyone calls me that, but I love being called that. Funny as hell. Nicole Kenning, who I knew from Irish Murphys, asked, "Who is Talia, Tanya?" I said, "Gail's 8-year-old granddaughter. She is raising her. Hard work as Talia has," here I explain it, ADD, RAD and ODD, which is opposition defiance disorder. I loved her dearly because I could see myself in her as a child, although I didn't have ADD. I probably had the other two disorders, right? Undiagnosed. Well, I had complex PTSD from the constant predation of my family of origin. Complex PTSD plus, as my Dr. Brian describes it, which is why I can also go completely wild when triggered to keep myself safe. She is beautiful and brilliant, but very obstructive. Last night she was mad, lol. She loves me though, so she calmed down eventually. The heat, being overtired, must have gotten to her. It's hard for Gail as she is 62 but looks 50, so she had to give up work to look after Talia and her youngest daughter, Christina. It's been very grueling as Christina is doing much better now, but has also been very ill for the past few years. As Paul Simon said in one of his songs, some people's lives roll easy. Ours have been hellish. Mine has a good chance of being beautiful and peaceful now, but Gail has many years of struggle still ahead of her with her grandchild and 2 of her daughters. Life is so fucking unfair. And I can't help feeling that she was so envious of my life finally reaching some measure of peace and equilibrium that she viciously sabotaged me too, out of envy and spite, which is why I ended the friendship with her into early February this time actually, 2015, because I had had quite enough toxicity in my life even by that time back then, and it didn't end even then. It didn't end for quite some years actually, but it seems to have ended now, and for that I'm so grateful. Be'ezrat Hashem, it has ended, and my life can finally begin again with a loving partner and our tribe and our friends and our associates, honouring both of us as a loving couple when that appointed time arises, right? In the meantime, I just will keep managing alone like I have done for the last 29 years, courageously, defiantly, stoically. 18th of February 2013. I came home expecting to have a much emptier house. Crystal and Brendan didn't take the furniture. Oh well, next weekend. I've talked to 2 other women who are suffering insomnia. Turns out we are all bitten by the love bug. Annie B asked, "Well, what is the cure?" I replied, "Sex, drugs and rock and roll, not necessarily in that order, PRN." I really do have a wonderfully dark sense of humour. "What about alcohol?" asks Annie, lol. I went, "Yeah, duh." She replied, "Well, didn't you know men drive you to drink?" Laughing my ass off. Some men do, but you have to take control of your drinking too, ladies. Never let a man destroy you. Ever, ever. Penny missed me last night. She just came up to me head-butted my iPhone in my hand and said, "I love you." Well, not in English, but you get my vibe. Best cat ever. Yes, she was. Just had a 2-hour nap. Expected to crash and burn from sleep deprivation, and all my body will give me is 2 hours. Guess I will sleep when my animus is tired enough, lol. Who is in charge here? Who indeed? The Tanya or Mama T or Miss Five? I had a lovely weekend with Jared and Crystal on Saturday arvo and evening. Pardon me. Working hard to help me declutter. Then yesterday arvo, Eve and a sleepover with my darling Lynn and Annette. We had an impromptu party and I had a good blowout on fluffy ducks, wine and Southern Comfort, thinking that I might sleep, but instead awoke owly in a weird Twilight Zone type snooze. Ha ha. I had a great time though, because I don't sleep well in other people's places. Like I really am like a child. I have to have my own environment and feel safe and in my own space. Came home, talked on Power Talk till 6 p.m. and now awake again at 8. Time to feed the animals and watch TV or a movie, then sleep later, I hope. Smiley face. 18th of February 2012. I had a nice evening talking to some friends and dancing. Didn't meet anyone special, which is very disappointing, but I live to play another day or night or whatever. I'm so protected there, which is lovely, but cramping my relationship prospects somewhat. Oh well, can't have it all. Damn, lol. And I was speaking in code, but a prospect is a man who's hoping to get membership of a bikie clubhouse. They're called prospects. So I don't know why I was speaking in code, because I have no shame. There's nothing to be ashamed of. I'm not a snob or an elitist or a fucking ignorant sadomasochistic pig like some of these elitists you meet out in the world. I'm an authentic woman and I can mix in any world I choose, including the upper echelons people. I just have to stop dropping the F-bombs sometimes, which is a habit of a lifetime, but I can impress people in all aspects of society. Because I don't fit in anywhere, I fit in everywhere when I make my mind up to do so. I'm a free, autonomous, wild woman and a wolf spirit as well. Wild wolf woman who runs with the wolves and pushes herself through every obstacle like a Mustang quay. That is my magic, people. A backhanded gift from decades of trauma, but my magic. And it's delightful. Well, the weekend has been a tad disappointing as I didn't meet anyone last night and my date didn't follow through. So ho-hum. I did have a lovely day with Jared, who took me out to reverse garbage and bought me a lovely lunch at Nando's and a chocolate bar, etc. And in the evening, Gail came over and took me to Macca's for a coffee and cheesecake. So the prospective male partners in my life, lol, roll over. You can never compete with my awesome, lovely friends who are kind, generous, loving, and totally there for me. Back in the day when Gail was totally there for me. But anyway, was she really? She used to sabotage my relationship with Courtney a lot. She interfered even with my mother and Buck. it was really fucking toxic, but I was in denial in those days. Sweet little Tanya in denial. Oh, well, I'm not in denial anymore. 18th of February 2011. Crystal took Jared and I out for a lovely Indian dinner last night. It was scrumptious. Today I braved the heat, schwitzed like a hog, but went to see Gail, who was not well today. Then I went back home, dug out the weeds in the back garden, which is now completed. Yay! Then spent the evening watching Paranormal State. A good day. 18th of February 2009. The Tanya is very frustrated at being sick with asthma and allergies again. Just got over the last illness. So you can see I've battled ill health all my life, as well as my inability to find a truly loving, loyal, faithful, generous, sweet, passionate, romantic, adoring partner. And my level of poverty, I have also struggled, ongoing issues with my health. But on a happy note, it's a beautiful day out there in Brisbane, Australia. It's sunny, it's currently 27 degrees. I'm alive, I'm happy, I'm tired a bit too, so I may have a nap later. I'm hungry, so I need to organise something nice to eat. And I'm in love with life, l'chaim, and I'm in love with my truly loving friends and my beautiful romantic one that looks at me with deep affection. And I'm in love with my bird Charlie, and I'm in love with life. And on we go, another day in paradise, depending on which angle you're coming in from. Some days it's planet hellscape, some days it truly is paradise. However, when the German soldiers wrote postcards to my mother, next week we're going to paradise, they were referring to the Russian front, which was almost guaranteed death. So I use the name paradise a little bit prosaically and tongue-in-cheek because there's a history, darlings. Paradise is not always the most beneficial outcome because it means your time on this earth is done. On the other hand, it might be the best thing that ever happened to you because you're free of planet hellscape and you get to evolve in another dimension. So it could be that, but I'm cleaving to this mortal body, looking forward to earthly delights, passions and romances, and maybe even a beautiful, satisfying sexual life again sometime in the future when I figure out who is my man and is worthy of me and chooses me from his own body, mind and spirit and soul, heartfelt in reality. In the meantime, I wait patiently and smile into the void. Bye for now, my darlings. Have a great day.